Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I want to talk about the experience overall with the new Final Stand maps and basically the preview of the Final Stand expansion. It's very interesting that DICE chose to basically give us a full-on preview of the expansion with pretty much everything that's going to be in it. There was nothing held back. No, oh, you'll get to see this when it finally comes out. Everything was in there. All the gadgets, all the vehicles, all the weapons. It just wasn't necessarily polished, which is a very interesting choice on their part to essentially show us the whole game, but in a buggy, unfinished state. On one hand, it actually gives them a lot of time to get real feedback from their fans and figure out what they want to change or what they want to tweak for the final launch. On the other hand, EA is certainly showing their hand a bit early and probably going to kill a bit of the hype for this last expansion for Battlefield 4. I don't know if this was a wise decision or not, and certainly showing a buggy version of the expansion might give some people the wrong idea, although they did put a giant watermark all over the screen here, which you pretty much can't miss. I think a little bit overkill, and the irony is that the vanilla version of Battlefield is so buggy anyway. It's just funny that they were so concerned about the quality of showing this preview build and had to make sure that people knew it wasn't finished. Battlefield 4, in my opinion, is still not really that well polished. One cool thing about releasing this on CTE is that it got a lot of the community playing the CTE version of Battlefield, and it was nice to be able to pick from a variety of different servers as opposed to the American server, which is usually the only option I have when trying to find a CTE server. Hopefully the crowd won't die down too much, although there isn't a ton of incentive to play normal CTE right now because you can't really progress your character much. I think it would be cool if they just tied the accounts together so that if you played on CTE, you could level up your normal account, unlock new guns and attachments and stuff like that. Now let's talk about what Final Stand is bringing to the Battlefield series. It's certainly feeding off of that Battlefield 2142 nostalgia. There's a lot of hardcore Battlefield 2142 fans out there. It was certainly one of my favorite Battlefield games out there. I think it played out really well, and they're sort of using a lot of this future tech stuff in the works. So there's a lot of modern weapons. All the normal Battlefield guns are still in the game, but then there's going to be battle pickups and some vehicles that kind of represent the future of Battlefield 2142, at least in the making. Now, if you remember the premise for Battlefield 2142, basically the world is entering, I guess, like an ice age, and everything's freezing up, and all the places that are not frozen and have resources still are in high demand, and there's too many people and everybody's fighting over the land, and there's kind of these weird factions that have evolved from here. So there's a lot of snow maps and stuff like this, and I think thematically they definitely captured that in the Final Stand expansion. Everything feels cold, it's more frozen maps, definitely more Russian geared maps where they're developing a lot of this tech up in the mountains, and there's cool snowy peaks or blizzards and stuff like that, and I really like the ambiance overall. There definitely was a lack of snow maps overall in BF4, and I like that they're doing an entire expansion focused on the snowy environment. Now, having played a lot of 2142, it's actually hard for me to play these maps and look at this future tech that's not yet released, like the walkers in these mountains, or looking at the Titan that's not yet finished in Hangar 21, and just thinking, man, I really want to fly a Titan around, or I really want to board a Titan, or I want to get into a walker and activate its shields and blow people up. It's hard looking at them because you're like, oh man, this was actually in a Battlefield game. I want to go play that now and experience that. So it certainly still plays out like Battlefield 4, but just sort of with this future tech theme going on. Now, the battle pickups do give you a little bit of a taste of that. The railgun definitely looks very futuristic, and it's got some pretty powerful abilities to it. It's a good thing it's a battle pickup for sure, otherwise it would just be crazy OP. The hover tank is certainly a cool new tank to play with. It's not overpowered in any way. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it definitely provides that sort of visual look to make the game look much more futuristic, yet still have guys with traditional assault rifles and stuff like that running around. And speaking of guns, Battlefield Final Stand is not bringing any new guns other than the battle pickups to the Battlefield game, and I find this a little bit disappointing just because they missed out on a big opportunity to bring in some of the more modern weapons that are in a lot of other games right now to this one, because it certainly would have fit the theme. In fact, if you look at Battlefield Hardline, which is using the same engine and a lot of the exact same weapon models, they've got some very modern guns coming in that game, like the Chris Vector, and they've got a cool little fold-out gun that are very cool visually. They look very modern. They are modern modern weapons, and all they would have had to do is kind of copy and paste some assets over from Battlefield Hardline. I realize it's a little more work than that, but it would have been very cool to get a few kind of futuristic style weapons that you could equip to your soldier and bring them into the vanilla version of Battlefield. Now, I don't know for sure, but it appears that we're not getting a new game mode in Battlefield Final Stand, so in reality all we're getting is 4 new maps, a few new vehicles, and granted snowmobiles are extremely cool, I like them a lot, and 2 battle pickups. So basically there's not a whole lot of new assets in this expansion. Frankly, as long as maps are good enough, then I'm excited about it. And if you did get the chance to play the new maps in the CTE week, then you'll know that they're very large, very vehicle oriented with lots of armor and lots of air. Now this is certainly traditional Battlefield in many ways and definitely plays into a lot of the 2142 styles, although not every single 2142 map was absolutely huge. But I can't help feeling like Final Stand is sort of making the armored kill mistake where they only cater to one style of gameplay, and that is extremely large maps with lots of vehicles and lots of air. Sure, you can play the maps on TDM or Domination, but let's be honest, TDM or Domination are not really good examples, at least in Battlefield 4, of some of the best gameplay. Conquest has always kind of been the core elements and some of the most fun to play, but look how big these maps are. Some of them actually have 3 attack helicopters on them, 2 per side sometimes, so you can have 4. I mean, they just get really big and really crazy, and if you're not all about vehicles, you might not be having the best time. Now, if you do absolutely love aerial gameplay and tank gameplay, then you're in for a real treat. This expansion is going to be perfect for you. I just wish they kind of took an approach where they gave a little bit of everything in each expansion, in terms of map size anyway. I think it would be a much safer approach, and you wouldn't run into these same problems that you had with BF3 expansions where some people would be happy and the other people would be really upset. I think you could kind of cater to your entire audience with each expansion. Visually speaking, Final Stand is certainly a beautiful looking expansion. Visuals have never been a problem for Battlefield 4, and Final Stand is going to stand up really well. The snowy and Arctic environments look really great in the Frostbite engine. Go figure. We now get to experience blizzards and snowstorms. I think there's a blizzard as a Levolution event, at least on one map here. Unfortunately, the soldiers don't really have any new camo. It would be really cool to have snow-oriented camo. I know that's something that a lot of people want. It is sort of a simpler request, but would certainly be something appreciated by all the fans. But then again, maybe people would blend in too much and we'd have a hard time spotting everyone. Now, you do have to wonder that if they're doing a 2142 themed expansion as the last Battlefield 4 expansion, is this an indication that they're working on Battlefield 2143? I certainly wouldn't put it past EA. It's a great idea and something that would definitely play into the fact that a lot of companies are now kind of doing future-oriented games. I mean, Call of Duty's doing it. Destiny just came out. There's going to be a big Halo launch soon. It would certainly be in the theme of games, at least first-person shooters as of late, to go a little bit more future-oriented. So Battlefield 2143 could be highly likely. So aside from Battlefield Hardline, which we know is not taking over the traditional Battlefield series, what would you like to see as the next Battlefield game? Battlefield 2143, perhaps Battlefield Bad Company 3? I know there's a lot of fans out there for both. Let me know in the comments, guys, and as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.